Last night before going to bed, I sat and watched Gangstar on in living color. Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. There are young people trying to become popular, to make lots of money, to get out of induced class warfare tribalism. Right? Remember that one lady that I was talking to, the officer's wife in Sierra Vista? I sat and was talking to her about stuff relating to people like Keith. She said, "What you're talking about is class warfare." I said, "Lady, class warfare has been on you for 10,000 years, whether you'd have it or not." Okay. She didn't quite understand me. A lot of people that came to talk to me in Sierra Vista thought I was pompous and arrogant. That I was self-righteous and regal, you know, and that I had a case of entitlement, that I wanted stuff I didn't work for. Yeah, I wanted to be in the book of Revelation. I didn't want you fuckers to live the Lord's Prayer year one, right? Life's eternal, grace is infinite. I love Judah Krishnamurti so much. And I love Haile Selassie so much. That gentleman with his wife that I talked to at Walmart, I don't know how it affects them. I don't know how this scientific community works. I have some knowledge of it. I know they use people for parrots. Okay. And most of them refuse to talk to me because he's supposed to be like this. He has this like power. Okay. He's this really powerful savant because people, he's a cult leader. So they use their charisma to trick people into believing they're gods. It's like, no, everybody knows that's not true. Okay. It says so in the Quran. It says so in the Bible. Okay. And Haile Selassie, in Jamaica. And then myself. So everybody knows that's not true. Okay. That the people that use the word God for genocide are not myself and other people like myself, that the books about God are written by the people that use the word God to mass murder. So that's complete fallacy. That's completely wrong. And the fact that we're still behaving in that manner shows that there are brain injuries in the scientific community of the people that are using money and technology to still manipulate the masses. We know that's true, right? But I sat and watched some of Arrested Development. They were one of my favorite bands back during college, when I was in college. But I don't know if Dion Ferris can attest to this, but you ever hung out with people like the people in Arrested Development? I'm sure Peter, Paul, and Mary are this way. A lot of them are, It's like, you just don't get it. Oh, no. Like the kid with the T-shirt at the laundromat, and, it's a black thing you wouldn't understand. What do you think of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz in his Mecca, post Mecca period? What are you talking about, white boy? What your shirt says, what I don't understand. Okay. Arrogance and ignorance are rampant. Okay. I'm truthful, kind, courageous, and then when it translates as charismatic, it's a Messiah thing you wouldn't understand, right? You're reading the T-shirt, and that's the thing about it is you really wouldn't understand. Okay. Well, because most of you accept money without question and then do as you're told for money, and you haven't had a life your entire life because you've been framed and put into a portrait at the DMV your whole fucking life, right? They already had your DMV picture waiting for you by the time you got your social security number at the hospital, right? And then you get a lot of these people that just run off and be Woody Harrelson's character in a movie with the kids and try to not participate at all or be Amish and shit. But you're still being framed in a similar picture. Is your name Henry? Well, sure. Well, you're the man I've been looking for. Okay, because if you say you believe in Jesus Christ and that you want to live his love and you go off and you hide waiting for him to show up from the clouds magically, you're not doing what's necessary for us to live what he left us. All right, you're not. You're hiding from the world. You're hiding in a closet, coming out and telling everybody else how to live among the living. Just like Buddhist monks, just like priests and nuns, and politicians, lawyers, and judges. And SWAT, and Navy SEALs, and Green Berets, and combat controllers, and McAfee, and Nord, VPN, and NerdWallet. Okay, you're hiding in a goddamn cave telling everybody how to live among the living. Okay? And it's not correct. And it's just you're an anthropologist, you're a sociologist, you're a crediologist, anything youologist, okay, that has to do with professionalism, all has a side to it. CIDE. Homicide, genocide, or suicide. Patricide, pesticide, herbicide, side, kill, right? Do your job. You're a professional, right? It's horrible. I'm too comfortable dreaming because I watch this thing and I'm sitting there with my brain going, there's no way. Okay. The Jennifer Lopez hooked up with Guru. Okay. They got in a relationship. She got an abortion, and then she felt bad afterwards, and he was upset about it. His nigga baby wasn't good enough for her daddy and her family, you know. Like I hadn't had that before. It was the exact opposite. Is my half-breed, what is it, baby, wasn't good enough for the black women, you know, unless, of course, he made lots of money, you know. And Raquel lied to me about her age. She had me thinking she was older than she was, and she was the one who instigated sex in our relationship. She put me in a precarious position because in our state, I was having sex with someone underage in the state of Arizona. I was 20 and she was 16, when in fact she had me believing she was 17. Apparently she knew the laws because girls talk about that stuff. You can't date an older guy unless you're 17. They're not going to date you unless you're 17. And we talked 10 years ago and she still lied to me about it. She told me the truth on her birthday. I was like, but you told me you were... I never did that. Damn, girl. It's like shit, you know. You're still lying about it? I mean, when you do something wrong, you should admit you did something wrong, right? You're being manipulative. You're being deceitful. Okay. You should admit it. Okay. And then the other people, I haven't been manipulative or deceitful in my life. They told me in Sierra Vista, my life is one of the biggest manipulative, deceitful, abusive science projects in the history of the world. Okay. I'm one of the most honest, caring, courageous, justice, you know, I'm one of those type of people, you know. It's, well, people are being abused. And you deserve a break today, so get up and get it. Which is okay, just hand it to the poor people, right? I'm that type of person. You can't do that. Does God know you own it? It's food. Share it. I was born like Solomon and David. Okay. So all these scientists, when they watch, and these Mormons and these hypocrites, well, he did that. He broke the law. Well, he did shopping when he was at the stores. When him and Steve did Christmas shopping, they got a thing discount, but they did the employee discount. They got this real big Christmas discount. Well, we even upped it. We sat there and rang it up as, you know. And with me, I didn't do that. But what happened is they got the Bee Gees, they had the Bee Gees anthology, and it was a big CD anthology case worth $75, right? It came in misticketed. as a $15 carrying case. And I said, wow. And I told Tom, and he goes, it's the fucking Bee Gees. And he rang it up for me on my Christmas discount as the $15 carrying case. So I got the Bee Gees anthology, which was a $75 CD set for like $8, right? I was like, wow, Merry fucking Christmas. That was great. And according to Gordon B. Hinckley, Ezra Taft Benson, and Russell Nelson, oh, you bad Negro. You bad barrio boy. You hillbilly redneck. You're making crack cocaine in your kitchen and selling it to your neighbors. That's how they act. And you're like, seriously? You're watching people be sexually groomed in my house from the time they're children with your scientist. Okay. By your scientist. And then seeing how I get through it. I get through it way better than your scientist, and then you judge me. Well, he actually had thoughts about, he still has thoughts about the sexual grooming and manipulation and how it affected me and what I was dealing with and how I felt. Yes. Especially Amy, when I talk to Amy and she helps me keep my prostate going. Yeah. Because she was a part of the same science experiment and she was sexually groomed and abused and manipulated, and it affected her way far worse than it affected me. It was she was born in 1980, I was born in 1966. The manipulation was a lot more intense and abusive when she was born when I was born in 1966. Okay. It was almost impossible for her to get to. I drove her almost mad. She thought she was schizophrenic. She wasn't a schizophrenic. She was being attacked by schizophrenics. That's really hard because they were challenging me because they had been studying me, using all kinds of archaic methods to try to turn me into this imposter and this monster. And then they used this little girl that had tribal connections to me sexually from Spain and Germany and North Africa and Africa. Okay. Yeah, she's cute. Oh, Amy's cute. Yeah. And she always gets, well, I'm not that attractive. It's like, you are to me. And the people who are shallow people, I used to tell her that when she liked Howard Stern so much. I was like, no, he's an asshole. He would call you a butter body. He would think she has a pretty nice face, but her body looks like an old lady. That's what he would say to you because he's that big of an asshole. And he's that, it's not pragmatic, it's just brutal and disgusting because he's shallow and fucked. And that's Howard Stern. Okay? Yeah. And she'd listen to him and laugh and go, he would make fun of you. He'd make you feel shitty. He does it with Robin. She can't stand him half the time, but she makes money. She makes a comfortable monetary-based living working with this creep. But he offends the hell out of her half the time. And she's like, well, yeah, I put up with this because I make lots of money being the straight person to their wacko. And she did. The things we have to put up with because you guys won't live the Lord's Prayer of the Messiah. I'll be back.